Hi, my name is Quinn Latimer. I just want to thank you guys for coming. The reading we're going to do tonight is a poetry reading, and it's called Read the Room. And it's in conjunction with an exhibition that's at Salt's in Beersfelden. That's an exhibition of 30 artists and poets who did works on paper that are dealing with mail art in the internet age, and artists and poets who are dealing with analog and digital processes. And these are some of the artists and poets who are in the show as well. And we're basically just going to do a round. We're going to go around reading poems for the next 45 minutes. So I hope you enjoy this. Let me just introduce everybody. This is Martina-Sofie Wildberger, an artist and writer from Geneva. Megan Rooney, an artist and writer from London. Paul Kneale, an artist and writer from London. Deanna Havas, an artist from New York. Karl Holmqvist, who's based in Berlin, who's a poet and artist. Andrew Durbin, who's based in New York, who's also a poet. And Harry Burke, who's a poet and curator based in London. So I think we're just going to go ahead and begin.
2009 Plus, an exhibition featuring contributors who were born after 2009. No fetus left behind. Pure potential as an inverted denial of finality. The fountain of youth emptied and filled with Adderall-laced vitamin water, sold as a 3D printable download on the website of a benevolent foundation. Presence as perseverance. Reverence as reuptake inhibitors.
This is from Actual Person. I wish I was dead every day, and that's not a bad thing if you think of it as a longing for a fresh rebirth. I want to post song lyrics. I suffered through workplace mobbing. It's about the long con. I don't know how to compose oxygen. He was going in for a hug. I mistook it for a kiss. I want a pen pal. I was the first customer at a brand new McDonald's on its opening day. He's not like us. He's a nice person. I scatter these about my room so people think I'm getting some. I'm angered at certain events and situations. I'm bi. I love weird facts. I'm the great pretender. Ugly hurts.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Ich nie san she. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Ich nie san she. 1, 2, 3. Time, money, entertainment, travel. It's more fun to compute. 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Time, money, entertainment, travel.
Is stoner a sexuality? Ward of youth, the clap of a door as I exit near the river where boys jog to Beyonce's Beyonce. I wonder what her search terms for feminism were. To locate a body of work, being stoned is post-linguistic. Like way too high to speak or in excess of the pleasure of thinking, it's never enough. Being bodied in fragile language is okay, Beyonce says. Sure. In the meantime, can you free me to not be dumb, or is this it? The one world crystallized at the ghost level of Bitcoin, an economy of restrained glee held up at the door with a cocktail from a stupid bar blasting Drake. Later, en route to Manhattan, under the high-rises, I think of Kenzo models in the gray, rise of blue and delicate colors of designer couture, as magic as a Fabergé egg recovered in time for Easter. It's moderately sunny, the Easter light a pale beige over the city as I speed up on the BQE, as the cab speeds up on the BQE with the sun fallen in its blue behind me. I remember you vomiting on me last night in the cab, and for some reason, I thought it was really cute.
Confession. We were fucking for a few months while she was still with her boyfriend. This is bad writing. This is bad writing and it's boring to read. We're not fucking, we're fucking in love, okay? Love is forever, and life is the thing that you make when you're free. Ah, jealousy. Can we live together? Can we? The remarkable question.
Aggressive Haussitten schleichen sich durch die Aha-Schnitten. Aha-Milchschnitten gab's jeden Morgen zu Hause, als ich noch häuslich war und klein und fein. Feinfühlig sind die Haussitten noch immer nicht. Aha, doch ich bin nicht aggressiv und nicht mehr klein und fein. Drum essen die Aha-Schnitten jetzt meine Kinder oder so und ich bin froh, aha, dass man sie kaufen kann in der Migros und ich muss wie vor Jahren zum Bäcker laufen, wo man die Zeit hatte zu verschnaufen, bevor man sich diese begehrten Aha-Schnitten in den Mund stopfte und sich hier daran verklopfte. Des mœurs de maison agressives se glissent à travers ces tartines. Tartines de beurre, il y en avait chaque matin à la maison quand j'étais encore très casanière et petite et fine. Délicates, les mœurs de maison ne le sont toujours pas. Mais moi, je ne suis pas agressive et plus du tout petite et fine. Voilà pourquoi, moi je les ai tartines maintenant mes enfants ou d'autres, et je suis heureuse. Qu'on puisse les acheter à la Migros, qu'on ne doive plus courir chez le boulanger, comme il y a des années qu'on n'avait pas encore le temps de reprendre son souffle avant qu'on se soit fourré la bouche de ce tartine et jamais essoufflé.
Pleasure and charity, sharing in the experience. She was flossing her kissable smile, asleep, coffee beans, and exploring your life before cold cereal. Intellectually, she was quite dirty, sexually hardworking. We floated along, giving all the potential signifiers to the people, elevated to a new level of empty, while simultaneously trying to restore balance to today's great chain of events. In the spirit of a good party, we started eating small meatballs, bobbing in vaguely Asian sauces. She knows from her own experience that meaningful choices are viable, but this thought is often clouded with a twist of vodka or homemade red wine. And the dangers of the modern world were close to our heart, and suddenly we were blind, or our eyes were permanently shut. And the mystic genius couldn't stop the sea from rising. Greatness. We fetishize power and look for individuals who wanted to masturbate with us. Pleasure and charity, sharing in the experience, as they say in California, although she hadn't actually been. But this small detail doesn't undermine our message, just like the diseases we won't cure together and the figures that stand without habits. The preacher paused. And just like that, an alligator jumped into the sand dune and attacked some poor golfer. He was an asshole, but his friends made valiant efforts to club the beast to death despite his unconditional grip. Alas, we were learning from our opponent, but despite our best efforts, he still made away with most of the guy's leg. Save us from the ontological truth, which is why blindness is forever. But it's still too early to tell most things, and one can hardly imagine things before the universe where our free interactions can account for having no taste at all.
The nausea of the replicate. This is how we do it in my town. What is writ dawns bluely across the back of one's neck. The ink of morning or of evening, clouds and some horizon scratched across the pink and freckled sky. See mine, what crosses it. Birds, industry, vegetation, verbiage. See the changeling haircut that grows out. Sunblush and comma of my small ear, glowing like the plaintive red star that once paled you. Once Susan Sontag came to me in a dream. She said, "So much in modern life can be enjoyed once one gets over the nausea of the replicate." "Oh, Susan," I cried, stabbing out my cigarette, "it's time to get inked." She laughed and grimaced simultaneously. took a piece of tobacco off her tongue with fingers blue and inky as what? Night. Not nausea, I continued, but dark ardor for the familiar, the repetition of pleasure. Right, she said, wings breaking like bread all up and down the back. Red, then black, then the blue ink of morning wrote itself into being, and I woke up. I remember the afternoon he put his hands on my neck. We had been out. When I had felt sudden love for the provincial club, jacked country boys with their dialect girls, tight country girls slumming with their dialect boys in the corner. Our anticipated weekend delivering its similitude like what? Like water. When the monitors of windows went from black to white, what's that, I asked. It's daylight, said Susan. I was astonished. Astonishment streaked my pink skin, color welling up like words that someone might begin speaking. The actual writing of our bodies happened sometime after that.
Unique dramaturgic interiors. The approach to exhibiting artworks championed by blogs such as Contemporary Art Daily, where the dramatic staging of the exhibition within an architectural space is itself the subject and focus of the digital images that document it. This approach is differentiated from what was formerly called installation art, to the extent that there is not necessarily a reflexive or critical dimension to the engagement of the architecture, and also that the staging is optimized for photographic reproduction rather than physical experience of the work. This work is aware of its ultimate transmission as a digital image and often has a, quote, minimal or sparse composition in order to not be overpowering when viewed in the browser environment, where it will be inevitably flanked by banner ads and open programs on one's personal computer. This work makes space for advertising. There's also a subtle but significant attention to the specific details of the architectural space that encode it as one particular gallery or another. Rather than neutralizing the historical context of the architecture as the white cube approach to exhibition spaces initially intended, unique dramaturgic interiors give us the feeling of specificity, but one that is emotionally restrained, a well-trained servant whose dignity becomes a regulating presence in the background environment of the enlightened decor.
Why do I need the state to validate our love? I won't abandon a friend when times get tough. I'm addicted to chapstick. My peppermint chapstick melted. Yes, I left it in my jeans pocket and washed it and put it in the dryer. Now all my clothes smell like peppermint chap. Damn, I really loved my peppermint chap too. Sigh. It was a love so perfect, so true. I wear makeup only because I want sex and compassion from strangers. I hate outdated software. I work at Best Buy. I found the site by accident. I like writing random thoughts. I'm the father of an 8-year-old drummer who has 1.4 million YouTube views. Do you ever run out of data on a monthly basis and have to stop using your phone? I am a certified hanasomatic educator that teaches people how to move out of chronic tension and regain flexibility and ease of movement. I cut off all my hair when he left me. I faked pregnancy at my last job to take an extra long vacation. Why am I online? It's not even like the love of my life will message me today. I secretly watch someone jack off. I love the female body. I just got home from donating bone marrow. I love to wear wigs. I love wigs. I love kissing. I own a small home theater business. I have lost a child. Why is there some chick in my seat? I went home with a random guy last night. I am a Scottish TV development producer in Asia looking for the next best thing. I always say I'm fine. I'm fine. I have CP and Asperger's. Feel free to ask any questions about me. I enjoy Impressionism, Monet. I am fascinated by human behavior. I am a diapered teen. I'm amazed at how many people were spanked growing up. I'm horrified of friends knowing I get spankings. I'm still spanked by mom. I broke curfew and got spanked. I deserve more spankings than I get. I had my mouth washed out with soap. I had to bring the hairbrush to my mom when she spanked me.
I am the leader of the gang. I don't want to be part of no gang. Want to be outsider. hate myself forever, want to criminal, no gangster, hipster, swingster, control my hands. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am the leader of the gang. I am, want to be outside, outsider, outsider forever. My hands, my hands, my hands want to control my hands. I say, my hands, things lurking in the shadows. Cat people, I, the brick wall, black cat. Why is desire always linked to crime? Murder, I, the cat, little death doing time. And I wish I could be so lucky. Bad vibe, omen. I wish I could have a life, could be alive.
Cold sausage, inner gear, smell 1970s. Are you like everyone else trying to get rid of me? Brief leisure, risk-averse, drive by the house where you jerk off in abandoned sand. Found credit card, tip the cup of cheap rum, forward business pleasure. The path to that place rotating within the Klieg lights render it possible. Shatter to find myself made inexplicable in the situation of appearances finally receding. A jersey lying on Fifth Avenue, tennis shoes in Fort Greene, reading the New York Post over a finance guy on the A train. Undiscovered life fallen against the Mazda, thrown out civility in the Walmart, Skrillex on the iPod pod, on the porch, warm beer, pollination, spit, 1970s.
Reading poems. I hate cocaine, but I like the remorse it gives me. It's hard to know what poetry is trying to tell you sometimes. Like, as if reading poetry is ever anything more than a declaration that there's you and then there's poetry. I think that's enough sometimes. The funny thing is no one ever replies to these. Oh, I do sometimes. They say when certain high-speed trains enter tunnels, it's not the air, but the train that's displaced. I'm not giving poetry that one. Time for quiet again. Sometimes matter says more when it doesn't speak. Life consists of looking at you, for me at least. Sometimes you feel really alone. I'm in Berlin again. I'm wondering who I am on the train. I misread every sign around me as language. Not language, but language. Literally the word. There's a struggle coming out in this poem, I thought. Poetry is just poem when it's alone. Oh, apparently the girl working at the bookstore loves Anne Carson. Fucking brilliant. Why don't we all just text each other and create ideology? Because Nope would say Anne Carson. Text. Think about it. 5 cities I died in. London is the worst for love. I'd hurt you if you asked me, maybe. If you read this, you can have me, baby. London is the worst for love. Anyone can write poetry these days with an art degree. I was sitting on a train with Sophie Collins in France and discussing touching. I was trying to shed skin. Is it too strange to write a letter before we've met? I said. What was love doing in these poems? She said. Reading is a form of permission, I said, I think, and not the traditional question poetry answers like democracy. At that moment, she did something like look at me. I think your kisses were trying to share with me, said neither. Poems displace themselves when you read them sometimes. I think she misread me.
Ce chien en haut, ce chouk en bas. Le chiennement chouk dans le chien-être. Droben dröhnt's, droben stöhnt's. Das Gedröhne stöhnt vor sich hin in der Drübigkeit. Drobigkeit. Grob tönt das Gestöhne und Gedröhne von droben. Dolen in Roben sind droben, rüber, über, dol, dolen. Stöhnende, drobige Roben drum. Sei ruhig und hör zu, Genosse. genosse das Gestöhne und Gedröhne von den deichten Dohlen, Dogen. Die Dogen mogen den Dohlen Drogen unter und bestechen sie mit Dolchen. Eben solchen Dolchen, wie man sie selten sieht. Eben solche. Und die Dohlen dröhnen vor Dummheit weiter, anstelle sich zu stellen den verdrogten Dogen. Denn viel Dogma liegt nicht drin für sie wie doof. Doch unakzeptierbar grob sind die Dogen zu den obigen Dohlen, die doch nur wollen sich roben in ihren Deuen Roben. Die Dogen, die Dohlen, droben stöhnt's nicht mehr, droben dröhnt's nicht mehr, ne se chaîne plus en haut, ne se choque plus en bas.
Organic matter and chaotic spirituality have your finger on the trigger of this crisis, although she had pledged not to invade again. But playing the game and saving appearances had her convinced that she was working hard at something. To put it bluntly, she was a guru. Insert fantastic particulars here. Pre-existing fate had it so that one of her eyes was slightly larger than the other. And now in this paranoid madness, she felt like her skin was drying out. So she decided to do something with all of those rotting bananas. Infinitely right, total freedom, civil, obedience, but she had to avoid sounding intense at home, despite all the smoking guns on her front lawn. Note that the lawn is weedless, plucked, green. Our guide asked us to recall virtual Caesar, but she had to tell him to fuck off, because at that particular moment, we happened to be queuing to get inside Christ the Savior's tomb. We were late, so skipping ahead, it turns out that part 1 and part 2 were all about how high above your head you could hold that sacred book. True darlings, he said, be gentle with your potatoes, and your reward will be light and fluffy. Enforcing the truth of this situation, she criticized the nameless and stood around trying to remember jokes, unable to understand the artificial division that kept perverts on one side of the room, scratching messages of love into the walls, while others stood around trying to deny the possibility that the divide even existed. The cat was winking full of lifetime guarantees, and the music was playing so loudly she could hardly catch the vocal line of her inner voice. She flashed some genuine eyes across the room, looked for gaps in the conversation, and made stains on the carpet.
The body responds by lying down. The body responds by tensing, ghetto blasting, rehearsing incoherence, formlessness. The body responds by unfurling favorite fields, blonder and blonder, into a distance of murmuring mountains rhyming the bluest perimeter. The body responds by reciting its limbs, its organs in sequence, a spine-like analysis, rib 1, rib 2, all the way up to what? The body doesn't remember. The body responds to void by sudden fever, by a catch and release summer of pure, patent, unadulterated winter. The body responds to such cold summits by summoning another. Bodies come internationally with notebooks to write down one body's repose, another's Olympics. O body, you are responding quite simultaneously. Your limber simulacra are all sleeping, shunning, sunning, quietly simpering. The body responds to such sniping by seeking a monitor, by resting her head against it as though it were another. What's one personification? What's two? What's animal in the animal and not animal in the machine that we talk to? All day long, the body responds by moving its fingers flagrantly, attentively, virtuosically, pathetically. The body responds by palindrome, mirror images of hands fracturing like Rorschach blots across this literate field of keys, each a letter or number or sign, similarly wrought and released. Like the dresses on the runways all this season long, not so similar at all. The body responds by dressing itself elegantly. The body responds by form and artifact, by geographical memories fond. The body, it responds by sister, by shelter, by silence. But by and by, it responds.
Post-authentic aura, recovery mode. The 2013 theme of the Metropolitan Opera's annual costume ball was punk. A New Yorker magazine cover devoted to the subject features the godmother of fashion, Vogue's Anna Wintour, with a purple streak added to her signature helmet bob, a nose ring, and a shade of burgundy lipstick that would have looked on trend at the original Lilith Fair. Superimposed in a sans serif font near the bottom of the portrait, punk. Certainly the past decade has seen a hyper-proliferation of ultra-specific identitarian concepts that have often been the subject of fierce debate. Recent memory indexes Rihanna and Azealia Banks' appropriation of the so-called C-punk aesthetic as one such event. However, the Photoshop punk of the New Yorker's Wintour cover speaks to something entirely opposite. Rather than positing a constellation of references and symbolic declarations of cultural affiliation as a matrix from which a subject emerges, here the punk aesthetic is isolated and relative, yet strikingly sincere. We are not directed to believe the deployed symbols as constituting the subject's essence, nor are we left feeling the lack of a phenomenological trace as a deficit resulting in deception. Rather, the subject, who is constituted of a series of abstract performances, is also positively imbued with aura. Rather than a pre-Benjaminian aura derived from a material localization in space and time, this post-authentic aura is produced from a perceptual movement around an empty center, and its auratic quality comes as a byproduct of its radical fidelity to its own time presence.
I fall in love so easy. There are 3 girls at work that regularly send me into a daydream of windswept shores and wild romantic fun. All men are assholes. I love the brave little toaster. I'm just a regular kinky dude. Loneliness is a hunger, a craving for more. I am human, and loneliness is my one true vulnerability. Is this a good question? I wonder if I have feelings. What reoccurring thought always runs through your head? I battle depression. Would you date Bill from Facebook? I am lonely. I yell at inanimate objects. I am a dyspraxic adult in England. I am depressed. I love trance music. I love to bite into pussies. I want a friend to talk to. I'm the person that always wants to be there for people but hardly gets the chance because people don't give me a chance. How do you express your vengeance on the common housefly? Are you a creative person? They say creative people are also the most unethical people. What do you say? I love to play golf. I use music lyrics to explain my feelings. I wake up every morning and check my phone looking for a text message or hoping I didn't miss a random call. There's normally nothing. I go through my day working in a daycare practically on my own with 9 screaming kids, but I try to stay positive about it. I am the page admin for Barack Obama. I married the wrong woman. I want to help people improve their lives. I enjoy helping others. I go to a STEM high school in Redmond, Washington. Is it ever okay to hate someone? I want someone to talk to or chat with. I am the other woman. I made my friend fat. I write. I'm a white supremacist and I watched Breaking Bad. I'm lonely. I want to run away and never look back. I think a lot about random stuff. I live in a sexless marriage. I'm a fan of Doctor Who. I want to be dominated by men. I like to read. I have a weird sense of humor. I am the youngest and only female trash collector in my city. I'm naked right now. It's quite liberating too. I'm a professional data recovery expert. I've done acid. I just ate 2 pounds of carrots. I lost a loved one to suicide. I hate my baby's daddy. I'm a movie addict. I feel so alone. I met someone who is important to me. I met him, but he's too far. The world is unfair. I am insecure.
Registered partnership, domestic violence. 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 Domestic violence. Escaping in every dream home a heartache. Escaping. TV commercial, channel surfer, class war, fine arts, cuisine. Where are you from? Where are you from? Bringing the war home, escaping, trying to go on. Cheap trick, escaping, trying to do anything. Found footage, make a collage. Found footage, make a collage. Media frenzy, found footage, make a collage. 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 Found footage, make a collage.
All day I dream about my Adidas tracksuit. I wrote this fragment in my notebook a few weeks after I had fallen in love with the tracksuit. My obsession began when a friend wore an Adidas jacket and black pants one night to drinks at a bar. In the dark, I misread his outfit as a full tracksuit, a surprise choice for what I had wrongly thought of as a date. Later, when I told him that I thought he looked good in athletic wear, he said he wasn't wearing a full tracksuit, just the jacket. Still, I really thought he looked hot in his imaginary tracksuit, and after that night, I often fantasized about boys wearing the semi-form-fitting synthetic fabric in bedrooms and soccer fields, subways, and dive bars. The tracksuit defines enough of the body to describe its shape, but not enough to reveal the higher definition of its contours. The tracksuit, like the plastic it's made from, works for different people in different ways, and this difference diversifies its social use. The tracksuit evokes the English skinheads, but also the London riots of 2011, when thousands of impoverished Londoners, exploited by shitty economics and ignored by the stewards of that decaying system, took to the streets to smash windows, overturn cars, and set houses on fire. In the YouTube videos of these riots, many of the men are wearing tracksuits. The tracksuits evoke soccer players at the World Cup. It evokes NYU students who are too lazy to wear normal clothing when they walk down University Place to their ugly library on Washington Square South. Russian men can be seen wearing it when they beat up gay rights activists who themselves are wearing tracksuits. The tracksuit is ageless and fits anyone for any moment. In this regard, the tracksuit is an image for an emancipatory politics that might emerge from the ecological wreckage of our moment as a flexible, evasive, even non-specific opposition to the current economic configuration of the world. One size more or less fits all. Also not. It's a certain gay look I currently like. My friend really did look hot when I thought he was wearing a tracksuit. The tracksuit is versatile. Its synthetic fabric is optimized for comfort and durability, meaning it can withstand varying weather conditions and climates. Wearing my own Adidas tracksuit and jogging through Central Park in the fall beneath the changing leaves, I think about the autumnal blur canopied over me that I never really stopped to parse. Leaves change via a complicated process I look up and can say happens because of the presence of chlorophyll in the leaves, a pigment held in an organelle called a chloroplast. When chlorophyll is abundant in the leaf cells, as it is during the growing season of the trees, its green color dominates and masks the colors of any other pigments that may be present. As daylight decreases and the days and nights cool, the veins that carry fluids into and out of the leaf are gradually closed off as a layer of special cork cells forms at the stem. As this cork layer develops, water and mineral intake into the leaf is reduced, slowly at first and then more rapidly. It is during this time that the chlorophyll begins to decrease and the color begins to change. The leaf slowly lowers its green mask. I circle Central Park as the light shifts back and the evening takes on the sharp, clear air that carries the city light toward me, swamping the trees with the bright urban night. I finish my run and stop at the edge of the park near 59th Street and Broadway. A man selling pretzels and wearing a tracksuit looks at me and shouts if I need any water.
The last poem I read picked up on a line that Quinn said to me once, and this one also picks up a line that Holly White said to me when I was eating with Paul and Megan and her. Cathedral of our City of the Angels, Los Angeles, 030114, morality poem for Alessandro. I have like 2% health in this conversation, so if you say something crazy, it'll kill me. When bad things happen, I tend to write myself a poem about it and hope that makes it okay rather than confront what it might mean. I'm still here and the poem's still happening. Beyond the view of the crossroads ringed with breath, her death appeared, knowing her so lovingly. Oh, death, you're not supposed to be here. I hurt you and you leave. Welcome to your cathedral. Please observe a spirit of reverence. in this house of prayer for all peoples. No food or drink inside. Turn off cell phones and pages. Thank you and God bless you. America is the place where I feel free. To be honest, in love with someone on the other side of the thing, technology, but otherwise happy. I can't believe I was sick out of your car in the parking lot in the house of prayer for all peoples. Repentance makes your face so messy. I imagine all sorts of space and time as a cathedral, non-symmetrical. The walls are covered with me. I love the idea of people listening to poetry and agreeing with it. Individual confession at the expense of collective action. Poetry that stirs the heartstrings. Teardrops in the snow. At the Chinese restaurant, you ask me, how do you compare emotions? And I don't know. Like tarot cards, maybe. You trade them and you go. You can stop talking to me on Messenger now. Kill the anger. Kill the grief. Repress me.
Les collines s'écoulent devant moi. Elles s'écoulent devant moi dans toute leur abondance. Ganz ohne Hülle, ganz pur, ein bisschen stur, ganz leise und erinnern mich an meine Leibesspeise. Einen Coup Dänemark finde ich ganz toll, so viele Kugeln. Ach, so voll. Mais au Danemark, il n'y a pas de collines, car avant, le Danemark était nappé d'une sauce chaude au chocolat. Und weil es nichts mehr sehen konnte, war es ganz verdrossen, dass es so hat seine Hügel in den Wind geschossen. Und ich bin froh, dass dies geschehen, car sinon je ne pourrais pas aller me dire, je vais oser manger une coupe Danemark au Danemark.
Original suggestions had Bossy saying she was flexible. We just met, so the possibility of living in complete solitude was unlikely. Walking historically, ideally happy, breath and the mobilization of cheerfulness. It was a marginal year, gapping between absences and allowances. She felt confused about wanting a car, and buying bread just wasn't enough. Flowing fluid was the good father. Having only recently joined humanity, she rang up to ask for better storage. Ah, go out to the desert and catch a fox. Believe me, brother, it was dinner for 4. There was a great dark grotto, no smoking. We were in a hot tub surrounded by clowns and plastic wine glasses, feeling young up and down, pure thinking and social stimulants. Roots, herbs, sepia, temple with flowers without color, shapeless paradise, bouquet of roses in a lavender thong. It goes without saying that it was Zen again, the opposite of too hot. Athos mucking about in the rubber plants, private life, in the bath with your mobile, adding you to the last session, sunset on your face, on the beach with your pants off, kissing with your pants off, renting out your room at home more or less right now. Loyal at Meadows, putting it simply, quite literally, 20 minutes of full glory, glitter on your face. Together and away, it was the fast schedule of the midday evening, unleashing fondness in 4 possible situations that involve caffeine and milk. And there we were, making things unready and folded. The art of travel had us pacing the place like dogs in heat. Friendship fell asleep and babies were born dreaming. 16 hours of hearts beating, publishing a quickly spreading double fantasy. We divided our horizons at dinner, remembering to cross our legs under our clothes. Hypnotic copy of a figure at rest, looking at the vertical lines in the palms of fluffy hands, touching your face in a painting by the river, interpretations leisurely, a natural journey to work, but not today, in the loving care of a virgin with gold teeth. Fascinated by the effects of living together, we should remain in small groups, trading jewelry we found in the sauna, spiritually glittered, Death was a place to die, but because things are never ending, we drew on desire and protected our body parts. Word lines for the sake of pleasure, past the big scale of rooms and such. A machine with no goal but this. Beyond neighbors, no joy, a man's desire, animals on the bed. No decisions on Saturdays every day of the week, mostly madness. Names gradually becoming signs. She's speaking with a Parisian accent and saying fuck. Snug in a coat except when night falls. Years spent away, life in the garden with cigarettes, strangers and a quick spreading gesture to express the pleasure. Value in the final and best painting, progress on a respective history, alone with your thoughts, excellence, having said repeatedly, open the door, choose a theme and various different colors, casual, N means never, later on, standing with a stroller and a baby, food, bread, salt, and a nurse.
Just want to say this will be the last poem, and thank you all for coming. Fuel. Let it burn, get rid of the fuel. The house is warm, but the walls are cool. To the touch, the hand like a match, the body like a screen, the cheek a pool, whatever may be behind the door. Fire, fever, love her, leave her, but not to fire, not to fire. Your thoughts that hurry towards her step so light like leaves whose shadows are blurring, but your ankles, thin as tinder, they're burning. And the sand, it slows the long season of you unfolding. While the water, it pulls you, and the mountains fever and flower, wide crimson petals, sharp orange pistils, yellow buds that mouth, they love you, they love you. As they score the foothills, writ them with ash, black cursive letters that thrall, that kill you. Such tall letters, they read as tombs to the trees buried beneath, also born beneath, also born above, in ash that fills the sky like tears, that fills your face like tears, like leaves, gray and burning, blurring the cool slide of your cheek, empty pool, concrete and absence, and the children who rest at the bottom, they watch orange flowers flaming above like heaven. This brother and sister, their mouths are closed, eyes are open. Language has left them like a lover, like a mother has fled them, so they roam but not resist, a concrete floor, no, not to rise, not to rise, the walls so steep, so curved, so round, as a mother's body in sleep, her female nude, her heavy modernity, but she is not still, nor here. She walks the fire-flowering hills, scorching their sides with her black poems, and far from her heavy steps, and below her world of ash, it's here they live now, waiting for flood or fathers to find them, but alone, alone, while her words whisper across the still, let it burn, get rid of the fuel. Thank you.